I've had more and more men coming to see me in my conscious intimacy practice related to erectile dysfunction, and I think it's a really fascinating metaphor for what is happening in our daily lives right now and in our culture and in our ways of approaching life. So somatically in my body, when I'm striving for things and I'm trying to achieve specific goals and I am like grasping and like tightening and closing and controlling, when I'm doing all of that, what's happening in my body is that the fluids in my body that normally would be in a constant ease of flow through the interstitial fluid, through the blood, from the blood being created into the cerebrospinal fluid, being recycled, and they turn into gels. So they become less liquid and more towards the spectrum of solid. And the more I hold openness and freedom and a state of being and relaxation and authenticity, the fluids, the liquid, the water, it flows so much more freely. And I was having this really fun conversation with a friend yesterday, and I realized that there are parts of my life even that I'm doing this in, of feeling like, well, like, why can't I achieve this thing? Like, what is it that is not allowing me to like get to this thing? And it was so funny because we both started laughing, and I looked at her and I was like, why can't I get a boner? Why can't I get a boner? Because it's the same thing. When I, as a female, it is really not about gender, and it does show up particularly for men in feeling like there's so much pressure to be able to get a hard-on, to be able to get an erection. It has become like very focused on, and in Tantra we actually, the yang masculine is represented in the body through the penis, and that is what is able to fuck the world open. And it can, as long as there's not attachment. So I can have a desire, I can have a goal something that I would love to experience in my life, and I can take the steps to make that happen. But when I'm clasping that with like a really tight closed fist of like, I have to have this thing, I have to get a boner right now, the pressure and the stress as a result of that, one thing that I noticed that is happening in bodies of people who are in this is that muscles go into chronic tightness and chronic pain and stiffness, because there's like so much striving and grasping for, I have to have this specific goal, I have to get a boner. And then when I start speaking to people about authentic pleasure and start exploring what that would actually feel like in their bodies and in their lives, it's usually not what you think it is. For most people, actually, authentic pleasure in the very beginning is just like relaxing and like cuddling and having just a really present, loving touch is often the first step to giving your body the signal, giving your body the message and the signal of I'm willing to listen to what authentic pleasure actually feels like, and what might happen if I open a little bit to to what might actually feel the best for me right now. And I had a client yesterday tell me that he had come to me because he wanted to get a heart-on, and where he was feeling the most tingliness, the most movement was actually in his heart. And of course, that's all connected, right? It is a lot about fluids in the body, like specifically on a somatic level, it's a lot about fluids in the body and how our intense tight-fistedness impacts the fluids. And it's also on an energetic level. If you imagine like the ability of the energies to flow and intermingle in your body between your heart and your genitals, or your heart and your mind, or your mind and your genitals, the more that you are feeling contracted and focused only on one goal, the more you're preventing yourself from feeling bliss